Hello everyone and welcome back to Brown Coat Reviews. I'm your host Laura. So today we're going to be talking about the recent Harley Quinn #1 issue that was released about a week or two ago. Then I wanted to talk, of course, about the recent release of Joker #1. So let's just talk about Harley Quinn for a quick minute here. I talked to you about Mad Love vs. Harleen. I've got the link in the description box below if you have not watched that video. It talks about the important aspect of the Harley Quinn character is to understand where she began, obviously as Harleen Quinzel, and then became Harley Quinn. And yes, you have this sort of phase in her life where she's in this terribly abusive relationship with the Joker. And then you watch her sort of evolve. And that evolution beyond that abusive mad love relationship goes in a couple different directions. So we have our Gotham City Sirens, which I love this series. If you have not read it yet, go grab it. I highly recommend it. This is, of course, where you have Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman sort of ganging up together. And you do have Harley Quinn still pining over the Joker, or Mr. J. But you have sort of this nice blend between her loving dolls and wanting to go to a toy shop versus being deadly. And you do definitely see that she is a menace all on her own, and when you put her teamed up with the other two, it's a very unpredictable but threatening menace for Gotham City. Highly recommend it. You have the DC Bombshells version of Harley Quinn, which is very, very playful. The very first scene that you see is a parody on, I think it's Jingle Bells. I just remember it being A Christmas Carol, and I laughed so much. So they did sort of reinvent the characters for DC Bombshells, but they kept the essence of that obnoxious and yet hysterically funny parts of Harley Quinn that we have all known and loved. And this is a version of Harley Quinn where we see her evolved beyond, like I said, that abusive relationship. You see her empowered, you see how smart she is, you see how capable, and you really see the full scope of, yes, she is a capable killer. Yes, she is capable of good deeds. And she's also still the psychiatrist Harleen Quinzel who has all that medical knowledge. And she's a force to be reckoned with. So you have sort of all these different reinventions of Harley Quinn that we know and we love. And then you have Stephanie Phillips, who is taking a shot at Harley Quinn, issue #1. Let me just start by saying the first problem I have with this series is the artwork. I know some people don't mind it, but to me, Harley Quinn is not a bubblegum piece of like 12-year-old girl cutesy character. Let me just show you my example. So this is the Derek Chu variant cover. This is the Francesco Mattina variant cover for Joker #1, and it features Punchline. Obviously, both of these are female villains in the Gotham world with obviously a chance to showcase on the covers. One looks menacing and you worry about running into her in an alleyway. And this one, I'm like, am I supposed to be afraid of that? It's cute. It's cuddly. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm just going to show you a piece of the interior art for both because I'm trying to make sure like why the art to me is pretty distracting. And then we're going to talk about the storyline, of course. So this is the interior art. And see how she's just young and pouting and ooh. This is the very first page of Harley Quinn #1. And see how she's got this really pouty look on her face? Very childlike drawing in general. To me, this was not an evolution of the character. This was a precursor instead of what it's meant to be, which is to take place after the Joker War. So you should assume that Harley Quinn's kind of grown up quite a bit by now. Whereas we have Punchline. We talked about the cover. But look at the artwork on the inside. It's very, realistically drawn. It's got some blood. We've got some definite sort of realism, and even see how the women are, yes, she's alluring in her dress. But as I said, it's got a very different quality. This reminds me of like Japanese manga and cuteness and bubblegum. Like I said, definitely bubblegum. And this is a genuine Batman story. So another quick comparison. This is written by James Tynion IV. I love his work. Gosh, like he's written Department of Truth. He's written, obviously, The Joker, War. He's written Something is Killing the Children. He is on fire right now with his writing. He is very, very well known in the comic book community. So him writing this series, you know it's going to be well written. Whereas this one is written by Stephanie Phillips. Stephanie Phillips wrote the Harley Quinn Future State series, which was just the 2 comic book issues. She's writing the sensational Wonder Woman series that's being released right now. And she's also written the Men Among Ye series, which if you watched our Married with Comics series, episode number 2, we just bought the trade paperback for volume 1 of Men Among Ye. So when we're looking at like writing chops, Stephanie's not bad, but I mean, like, we're comparing apples and oranges here. Just, he's at a whole other level, like Scott Snyder epic writing. Like I said, he's a name. She's not there yet. And it also shows in the way the stories are handled. This does an amazing complex buildup of the characters, and you can't wait to see what Joker and Punchline, and of course, James Gordon is going to do next. This one was a great interpretation and a new way to approach the Joker that all fans have definitely embraced, and we're all dying for issue number 2. Highly recommend that series, obviously. This one was cute. I'm supposed to say something else more positive than that. I'm working on it. Nope, can't do it. It has potential. It does genuinely have potential. Does it ever have potential to achieve the same level of the Harley Quinn that's in Batman White Knight? No. This Harley Quinn, I will get behind any time of the day. This one is cute. So I keep saying cute over and over again, and some of it has to do with the artwork. And it is done by Riley Rossmo. And I told you all, I butcher her name. So if I'm butchering that name, very, very sorry, Riley Rossmo. I'm sure the person is probably like in the background screaming, going, oh my gosh, Laura, get it right. I'm sorry. So anyways, if we ignore the artwork and we ignore the fact that, okay, it's different. Look at the writing. I told you that one of the things with the DC bombshells that I liked is, I'm not saying that Harley Quinn does not have childlike qualities. What she does have is this very complex, intriguing balance of a childlike character who loves toys, who loves playing practical jokes, and gets so many different sides of the Joker, versus a woman who has killed people and can beat Batman. If you don't believe me, read Mad Love. She was the one who caught Batman when the Joker couldn't so many times. The only reason she failed was because of the Joker, because he was so jealous of her. So you know she has that dangerous quality and capability, and I think a part of her always holds back just a little bit because she knows that she's smarter than a lot of the villains in Gotham. And I think because she knew how the Joker would react to it, she's just always been this sort of very playful but amazingly smart and very capable character that a lot of people underestimate because she's cute and she wears, the clown face. But that's the point of the character. So describing the character technically as cute isn't a bad thing, as long as you have that dangerous side of her that, like I said, it's a nice little line of delineation when it comes to Harley Quinn. But if you don't have it, to me, I'm like, you've missed the point of Harley Quinn. they didn't get it yet. Like I said, the potential is there. The problem that I have is there's one specific scene where it's almost like Batman is trusting her to do the right thing. And she goes off and she, starts fighting, and then suddenly Batman appears and he tells her, "Enough!" And he has to come in and basically save the day and tell her to behave herself. I'm like, okay, there are times that Harley Quinn needs someone to step in and pull her back from the brink of going a little bit too far. But instead of being on equal footing with Batman, and a character that, yes, he believes in, and, he always, I think, genuinely felt that Harley Quinn was capable of doing good things instead of just being corrupted by the Joker. Instead, what I got the feeling from this story is a father-daughter relationship. So it almost felt like he was, nurturing one of the Bat kids. We've seen that. We've been through that story. We've seen him nurture other superheroes. We've seen him take them under his wing. Sorry, I can't help it. But I'm like, but it's Harley Quinn. Why do you need to take her under your wing? Why does she need to be the child in such a permanent state? I'm like, at this point in the story where we're past the Joker War, hasn't she achieved enough to be on equal footing with Batman? Because we've seen other team-ups where she collaborated with Batman. I mean, as well collaborating as Harley Quinn does, where you always worry about her own personal agenda. But why this approach? I was not convinced with this particular story. And at the end, we do get sort of a team up with her and the guy with the really weird drawn face. Let me zoom in on him. This dude, he's got like a smile on his chin. I didn't care enough for that guy because clearly I don't even remember his name. And yes, I am terrible with names, but if it's a great enough character, I'm going to remember the name. I didn't care enough about him. I didn't care enough about the team up. I didn't care enough about, how Batman is helping her or overseeing Harley Quinn. Instead, I just sat there and said, wow, that was a missed opportunity. Because, like I said, even if they went to these levels where it's still a fun, playful character, I could get on board. Instead, I felt like this was just a cutesy, pouty, not evolved version of Harley Quinn. And maybe that's the point, is that the series is going to have that evolution drawn out. But part of me is like, so wait a second, why is it that she has to keep going through this evolution story of childlike to secretly and not so secretly a very dangerous woman, whereas Punchline can start off as a dangerous woman and stay a dangerous woman? Both of them clearly are interested in the Joker, so why the difference? I don't get it. It could be the difference in writing style. The Future State Harley Quinn storyline, like I said, it was cute, had potential, didn't quite reach it. It could be the preferred approach of Stephanie Phillips. It could be any number of different things. It's just, like I said, it's not there yet. This is a series that my husband is probably going to keep grabbing because he does like Harley Quinn a lot. Maybe he will disagree with me, and if he does, I'll get him on camera, don't worry. But I don't know if I'm going to stick around long enough to see if this meets my own personal expectations of Harley Quinn. So for me, I'm probably going to wait until there's a trade, read the whole thing, and decide if I'm going to be exceedingly opinionated and just leave this as a failed Harley Quinn attempt, or give it the credit that it's due, saying, listen, this had a really crummy beginning, and the artwork is terribly distracting, but the great writing is there because you see the great evolution of the character that I have loved in all these other series. Maybe I just haven't given it enough of a chance. So, tell me down in the comments, did you grab Harley Quinn #1, or were you distracted by the artwork? I almost didn't grab this one. Technically, my husband grabbed it because I was out the second I saw the cutesy covers. Have you read Harley Quinn #1? Did you like it? And if you read it and liked it, did you read the Joker #1? And I know I'm comparing apples and oranges, but I was told at some point there's supposed to be a tie-in. They could have been wrong. But that's part of the reason I started reading this one, going, okay, well, listen, if we're going to have the two storylines intersect, you know, clearly I'm going to be reading the Joker. Let's see what Harley Quinn has to say. And I'm not sure I need to continue reading Harley to know what the storyline is going on with her, to be able to piece it together whenever she inserts herself into the Joker storyline. We'll see. Let me know what you think. Reach out in the comments, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Have a great day.